Our next inductee is Richard Vojticek Sr., the late Richard Vojticek Sr., class of January 1960. Accepting on Richard's behalf is one of the members of his family, son John Vojticek.
Well, between Les and Paula, I really thought people would be stammering up here, so thanks a lot, Les and Paula. Appreciate it. No, but honestly, interestingly, in both their messages, I thought a lot about my father. First of all, being a servant, and as well as someone whose friends were truly his family. And so, first, let me thank the committee on behalf of my father and my siblings who are here today, my sister Susan, Christine, and Richard. Let me thank you, Gail, and the bank for putting my father's name in here. He's definitely with us tonight, and he's extremely proud. It's sort of funny for him to get this, because I've seen a number of his report cards, and I'm not certain he should graduate. But as you've read in the program, he's been recognized on numerous occasions, and by no means did my father ever seek recognition. But in this case, this induction, I think, would be very important to him, because my father was someone who always wanted to stay connected with his roots and remembered where he came from, and West Tech was very much part of that. My father and his two brothers and two sisters, three of which are home this evening, grew up in a single-parent home on West 60th Street. He and his siblings all face what today we call insurmountable odds. He used to talk to me about picking worms and selling them to the bait shop, or show me his crooked fingers from setting bowling pins. Everyone had to pitch in to make ends meet. But none of them, including my father, used this as an excuse or reason to quit or feel like they owed something. And I think it sounds like many here, they use it instead as motivation to make a better life for themselves and their families. Well, the start of my father's better life began with his employment at Cleveland Sporting Goods. The store was at the old arena on Euclid Avenue. About 3 years into his career there, the two men who owned the store asked my father if he'd like to take it over. There was a hitch. There was about $100,000 of debt, which in inflation-adjusted terms is something like $500,000 today. My father wasn't the real numbers guy. My mother was that, so my father said, "Sure, I'd love to take your debt." And he agreed. But knowing he needed time, my father was an honest man and went to each one of those creditors. And he tells a story about going to see the president of Rawlings and asking him for time. And these are things we don't hear about anymore. These are things that happen at another time. But my father was just a person who believed two reasonable people that trusted and believed in another can make something change. He was an idealist, and he always saw the best in people. Before coming here this evening, Uncle Chuck reminded me of a story of a young man he caught stealing at his store. He grabbed the young man and took him into his office and said, why don't you take a job here and earn the money to buy what you had here? Sterling, his name, remained effectively a member of our family for the rest of my father's life. My father, he walked the line. Thankfully, my mother. My mother would let my father continue to impact other people. She would take care of things like bills, things that us realists have to deal with. She was an incredible woman. She realized what an amazing and caring man my father was, and particularly glad about it. And although not always particularly glad about it, she was willing to share him with other people. And he would spend the rest of his life touching other people and working within the community. But specifically, he had enjoyed spending time with the intellectually disabled. My father has an incredible passion for the intellectually disabled. As part of one of his many associations, he would get up every Saturday morning, dress up like a clown, and go entertain the children. He'd blow balloons, and most importantly, he was instrumental working with Doug Deacon to grow the Special Olympics. As I think about my father's passion for all people, I know these kids were particularly important to him. If you've spent time with the intellectually challenged children, you typically experience a naivety, a childlike wonderment at each new experience, one that never goes away even as they age. It's the same reminder I get when I see my daughter and she sees a fire truck and gets so excited, but now she's 5 and she's less excited. And at some point, She'll be swearing at the fire truck as it drives by her down the streets. It slows her down. But these children, every day, they see and approach life in this particular way. My point is, my father approached every day with that kind of energy and excitement. He had no tolerance for agendas or motives. Things were black and white with my father. Life was not complex. He led with his heart. So let me thank you again for this award. It has gone to someone that led an exemplary life. It has also given me a chance to share with you the life of a truly unique and caring man, my father, and it helped remind me of many lessons I learned from him that I too often forget. Thank you very much.
I'm almost embarrassed to say anything after that heartfelt acceptance. I mean, really, that was beautiful, and so I know your father's looking down and very proud of you. So on behalf of the Ohio Senate and Cleveland City Council, I'd like to recognize your father here and say congratulations.
Thank you. Our fifth and final inductee for the evening is Doris Meister-Willman from the class of 1953.
As you knocked me out with your chin, my elbow.